Have you ever actually stopped to think about humanity's very first tech boom? Long before Silicon Valley, way before smartphones or computers, the absolute cutting-edge technology was, well, quite literally a cutting edge. Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving straight into the evolution of the sharp stone blade. It's a technological progression that honestly changed the entire trajectory of our species. So let's uncover exactly how our ancient ancestors engineered the very foundations of human civilization.
Okay, let's dive into this. Picture this. More than 2 million years ago, early humans just started picking up simple, unworked stones. And boom, that colossal milestone officially kicked off the Stone Age. Just as simple rock grabbed right off the ground and used as a tool. But that was the initial spark of our entire technological journey. Pretty wild to think about, right?
But now, we're going to fast forward dramatically to roughly 30,000 BCE. This is a massive leap in time, obviously, but it marks an incredibly important shift in human behavior. The true fascination here is that transition from simply finding useful rocks in nature to intentionally crafting distinctly worked stone blades. Now, while it's basically impossible to date the exact moment the very first crafted blade appeared, the evidence confidently points us to around 30,000 BCE. This right here is the pivotal moment humans went from scavenging for tools to actively manufacturing them.
Section 1. The first human technology. From ordinary rock to engineered tool. Let's quickly trace the major chronological anchors we'll be exploring today. We start way back, 2 million years ago, with the first simple stone instruments used by early humans. Then, we make that massive jump to 30,000 BCE, which is where we see those distinctly worked stone blades first appear. And finally, moving a bit closer to the present, we hit 10,000 years ago, where sophisticated post-Ice Age tools really begin to emerge. Just keep this little roadmap in the back of your mind as we go through the evidence.
Section 2. Mastering lithic reduction. Let's get into the actual mechanics of ancient engineering.
So, the absolute core of this ancient engineering is a process called lithic reduction. Simply put, it's the technique of using an implement to strike a stone block to break off naturally sharp flakes. I mean, it sounds pretty straightforward, right? But think about it. You're literally taking a raw stone block and reducing it down to create something highly functional and, well, deadly sharp. Breaking down this step-by-step process of lithic reduction really reveals just how brilliantly efficient it was. Step 1. You strike a stone block with an implement made of wood, bone, or maybe even just another stone. Step 2. That impact breaks off flakes of stone that are naturally incredibly sharp. And then Step 3. You take those flakes and turn them into specific, useful tools and weapons. We're talking scrapers, scythes, knives, arrows, spear points, the whole shebang. And honestly, here is the true genius of our ancestors. Early toolmakers were so ruthlessly efficient that they almost always used the leftover core of the stone block to make heavy axe heads. So one single raw block yielded a whole arsenal of specialized tools. Literally, no waste.
Now, because this reduction process became absolutely vital to daily survival, certain materials naturally became highly prized. They used various kinds of stone, sure, but one of the absolute most popular was flint. And because of this, early craftsmen who made these stone blades via lithic reduction earned a very specific, unique title, the flint knapper. Make no mistake, these individuals were essentially the primary engineers, mechanics, and inventors of the ancient world.
Listen, flint knappers didn't just smash rocks together hoping for the best. Not at all. They essentially developed, software updates for their technique. They utilized repetitive blows, and they learned to strike the stone at mathematically precise angles. Doing this allowed them to achieve much, much greater control over the size of the flakes. By mastering these exact variables, the flint knapper could dictate the precise sharpness and the specific type of blade they produced. This wasn't just banging rocks, this was precise, intentional engineering.
Section 3. The Post-Ice Age Leap. This is where we see the emergence of truly sophisticated tech.
Right around 10,000 years ago, human civilization really started to branch out and accelerate. And this era is characterized by increasingly sophisticated stone tools that had multiple uses. And the materials they were using? Absolutely top tier. They were utilizing knapped flint, of course, but also obsidian. If you don't know, obsidian is a naturally occurring volcanic glass. This was literally the premium, high-tech material of the post-Ice Age era, because it was capable of yielding incredibly fine, razor-sharp edges.
This brings us to our next major innovation, which is brilliantly illustrated by microliths. What are microliths? They're small, extremely sharp blades used as integrated components in larger wooden implements. Think of microliths as basically the microchips of the ancient world. Instead of carving one giant tool out of a single massive piece of stone, humans were now making small, highly standardized parts that could actually be slotted together to create complex multi-part devices. A real game changer for sure.
Comparing these eras side by side shows a massive technological leap. You look at early single-piece tools, simple scrapers, crude knives, heavy leftover block axes. They were highly effective for what they were, but relatively simple. Then you look at post-Ice Age microliths. This is multi-part, integrated tech. Humans were literally taking these tiny microlith blades and setting them into wooden cutting implements for use in farming, or using them as specialized barbs on arrows and spears. We went from a single jagged rock to modular components that completely revolutionized how we hunted and how we farmed.
So to wrap this all up, this ancient tech startup era of lithic reduction, learning how to strike a rock at the absolute perfect angle to make a scraper or craft a microlith for a spear, that is what sparked the engineering, farming, and hunting efficiency that built our modern world. It really leaves us with a profound question to chew on. How did mastering the surprisingly simple act of breaking a rock ultimately pave the exact way for modern human civilization? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I'll let you think on that one.